welcome back to another episode of our life seasons where we talk about the raw and honest truth in navigating through the different seasons of life. I'm your host, Wen. If you have been loving the podcast episodes, do leave a review of this podcast on whichever platform that you're on and let me know which topics are your favorite. Now, before I dive into today's episode, I have a small announcement to make. It's our life season's birthday month. We're soon going to be turning 1 year old together, and of course, I'll be celebrating it on socials with you guys. I can't wait for you to see what I've been up to planning for our life season's birthday and all like the good stuff that will be coming leading up to the actual day, which will be happening on 16th of June. Oh my god, I can't believe it's been like a year of me starting our life seasons literally out of pure passion and intentions of actually building a community of my people and just being able to spread positivity and joy in hopes that more people like you guys could live out your desires and have a space to be vulnerable and find comfort in having our life seasons as part of your healing journey or wellness journey. It's all I ever wanted and I'm so happy. Now, seeing so many of actually like you guys DMing me, be it on my personal Instagram or our live seasons Instagram, telling me how much our live seasons have helped you to reframe your thoughts and perspective on life, it really warms my heart and it's really very heartwarming. And if you were to tell me a year ago like all this would happen, I would not have believed in you because I would have had my doubts. But at the same time, I knew that there were people out there who needed this raw and honest truth to life because I appreciate that myself as well. And I'm just happy, so happy that our life seasons can be part of your journey and I can be part of that too. So it's honestly really incredible. And by the time this episode released, I will be in Penang, and if you guys see me on Instagram or rather like on our life seasons Instagram or even my own personal Instagram, you will know why I'm there, okay? If not, I won't spoil it for you. Please head on to Instagram stories and I'm sure you'll know exactly what's happening. Okay, super exciting stuff. I can't wait to show you guys and bring you guys along with me on the behind the scenes. This is a moment I want to share with all of you as a form of appreciation for being with me on this crazy journey called life. Obviously, there's more milestones to come, and yeah, I just want to say a special shout out to all my OG our live seasons listeners who have been here since the start of our live seasons, when we had like maybe 100 followers. We've celebrated a lot of milestones together, hitting over like 1 million plays on one of the Instagram reels that I posted, celebrating my manifestation coming through of surpassing more than 1,000 of you on both Instagram and TikTok within the first 2 months of 2024, and many more milestones to come. And it's insane. Like, I am so grateful and super grateful for every single one of you. Like, really grateful from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being here with me on this journey. And I know I'm like rambling, okay? Enough of like the emotional stuff. Let's get into today's episode on the negative thoughts that we have on repeat and how to get unstuck from it. I know I talk a lot about the importance of being self-aware of, your thoughts that you have on a day-to-day basis and just how powerful our thoughts can be. But I don't think I've actually had like a whole episode dedicated to it. And I feel like it was about time I delivered this episode to you guys. Because looking back at my own journey of how I went from being someone who was always complaining about, everything in life, never satisfied with my reality, which is why episode 12 came about, to this version of me who can honestly say that I'm more than ever aware of my thoughts and allowing it to shift my reality from lack to abundance is honestly life-changing, and I feel like everyone should know this. I'm not exaggerating when I say that, if you take the time to work on being aware of your subconscious thoughts and understand where it came from and shifting the way you think, you'll start seeing things manifesting into your reality like really fast. I know it sounds a lot of work, and I'm not going to sit here and lie to you that it's easy, but you got to understand that the journey of becoming the best version of yourself will always take time and a lot of patience and effort from your end. You got to put in the work to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. It's like growing an orange tree, right? If you plant the seeds and think that you don't have to nurture or water it every single day, you'll be disappointed when you don't even like see a sprout growing at all, right? What more like seeing it grow into a tree of oranges? So same thing with life. You gotta be committed to yourself and believing in yourself enough to know that as long as you're willing to put in the time and effort to work on yourself, you definitely get to enjoy the fruits of your labor, which is the quality of your life improving significantly and surprising yourself with what you can achieve in this lifetime when you simply commit to making it your best, to making this life your best life. And that starts with your thoughts, okay? Dr. Deepak Chopra quoted a study that states the average person has approximately like 65,000 thoughts per day. And out of those 65,000 thoughts, 95% of them are exactly the same thoughts that we have yesterday. And it's insane. 65,000 thoughts per day, and thinking that literally a huge chunk of them is something that we constantly have in our minds on replay every single day, it's crazy to me at least. Those thoughts are the thoughts on repeat. It's like same thoughts, different day, right? Clearly not a very original or creative thinking person, if you ask me. That's why it's important to understand what are the common thoughts that you have on a day-to-day basis and how these thoughts are actually affecting you on a bigger scale of things. Because I know on a day-to-day basis, it may not seem like anything, like the thoughts that you have constantly playing in your mind may not seem like it will affect you, but trust me, everything builds up, okay? If you constantly have negative thoughts and just that one narrative that you hold on to every single day, trust me, it runs your life, it runs your year, okay? The thing you gotta understand is that our thoughts have the ability to bring us to places, to scenarios that have yet to happen, and most of the time, it is the worst case scenario, right? This is just a way that our subconscious mind protects us, right? Preparing, open inverted, preparing us for the future. And here's the thing, we can never be prepared for the future. I know, scary to think that, but that's where the fun to life lies in, right? Imagine a life where everything is just predictable and normal per se. We would never be able to understand what excitement feels like, what surprises feels like, and what joy of anticipation will feel like. We will never be able to understand all this, right? It will all feel so foreign to us. So we start to live life like an NPC, simply existing with nothing to look forward to, no challenges to grow and be proud of, like what we've actually come so far. So look back at all the challenges and hurdles that you've overcome in your life. Yes, it was tough, and in that moment, it could feel like there was no way out. You don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but you're here now, right? You made it, and life goes on. Perhaps you learned something new about yourself through the experience. Maybe it brought you so much pain that you needed to be who you are today. All these hurdles play a very big part in becoming this version of you, and I always want you to remember that, okay? Trust me, I know, and I always say that every breakdown will eventually lead you to a breakthrough. Whether or not you see it now, it will always lead you to a breakthrough. I always believe that the universe will not let me go through something just for the fun of it. Every hurdle, every challenging time that you ever face will come with its purpose, and my role or your role is to understand and discover what that purpose or lesson is. And please feel free to kind of take on this mindset as well, where you know that every single time that you break down, every single time that you feel like you're struggling, have this faith in yourself and in the universe to know that you're not going through it for fun. There has to be a purpose, there has to be a lesson that comes with it, okay? So what I'm trying to say is that when you're constantly choosing, whether it's subconsciously or consciously living with negative thoughts, essentially what we are doing is we're stuck in this either the past, or we're trying to predict what's going to happen in the future. And none of these two will be beneficial to your life. You get to pick your battles, okay? Either you stick to your current way of living life, which is to allow your negative thoughts to take charge and eventually manifest into your reality, which I will explain, how this happens in just a bit. Or you actively choose to bring yourself to the present moment whenever you feel like whenever you notice yourself spiraling into negativity. And this brings me to the next point of having the ability to get unstuck from your negative thought patterns, boils down to the ability to detach from your past stories and thoughts, which I covered in episode 30 of letting go of control. So give that a listen if you find yourself constantly having the same thought patterns over and over again, which is likely the case if you feel stuck in the same reality and find it hard to be in the present moment, okay? Episode 30 will really help you. So learning to detach from the situation, no matter how affected you are by it, and it takes a lot of self-awareness for you to do that, okay? If you know, you know. Self-awareness is something that I constantly talked about in this podcast because it is really a lifesaver, at least for me. I believe that a story, or rather a start of every self-help, self-love, self-development or wellness journey in general begins with self-awareness. If you don't have self-awareness, it's very hard for you to even want to be better, to even want to make things feel better in your life, okay? The ability to be aware is not as easy as it sounds. It takes a lot of patience and consciousness in you to be able to be honest and open with how you feel and think, and not running away from it or trying to push it aside in hopes that all of this will subside, because it won't, okay? Rather, it will only come back 10 times even like stronger than before, and it takes practice, but it is not impossible, okay, for you to be self-aware. It's so possible for everyone. So you just gotta envision that version of you that is hyper aware of your subconscious thoughts on repeat and break it down. I'm not gonna lie, it takes a lot of work again, which is why I say you need that desire or push to want to see yourself reach a state of pure joy and happiness, a fully present self that you can be so proud of, and most importantly, you believe that this version of you exists and you just need to make it happen, and trust that it's made possible for you because you believe in the concept of if you desire it, you can have it, okay? Everything that you desire, you can have it. So that is the first piece, which is to be very aware and self-aware of whatever that's happening around you, or rather like the thoughts that you have on a day-to-day basis, okay? Now, after you build self-awareness and it becomes second nature to you, the journey to arriving at the best version of you starts. And I say arriving and not building is because that version of you already exists. And this is back to the concept of having that confidence and trust that whatever you desire is made possible for you, right? Like I said, whatever version that you envision your higher self to be or to live is made possible for you. So you see how all of this are actually interlinked with each other. Just like life cycles, everything comes back in full circle, okay? Your thoughts leads to your emotions, and that emotion drives your actions and eventually becomes your reality. And your reality plays a very big part in the thoughts that you have and repeat, right? See that full cycle, your thoughts, emotions, actions, reality, then go back to your thoughts again, and everything just kind of repeats. So now that you see this cycle, you'll know that everything starts from your thoughts and not your reality, okay? And this is where the gold is. I talked about this in episode 10 before. Your current reality is not your future. Majority of the people in this world, we operate based on our reality. And what this means is that we often make decisions based on what we see, what we see our current reality is, right? Which is based on, again, your thoughts. Let me give you an example. One that, you know, many can relate to, because even for me, it's something that I actually experienced before. If your current reality shows you that you have a tough time managing your finances and you find yourself having just enough to get by every single month, or you're struggling to pay bills, what will your day-to-day thought be like? I want you to think about it, right? You would constantly find yourself saying things like, oh, I'm broke, I can't afford this, I'm stuck in this situation, I'm too poor for that, I have to work harder than others to get wealthy, I have to save more money is hard to come by, I'm not like them, I don't come from a wealthy family, if only I have money, I can then blah, 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 right? I can go on and on and on about all the limiting thoughts that can come from this scenario, and all of this stems from something called your limiting beliefs. And because of this, guess what happens next? You obviously feel dejected, anxious, and a lot of fear in you. So most of them are not great feelings to have, right? What comes after then? Your actions, right? You start acting as this identity that you take on. And this identity is someone who feels like they're stuck in the lack of every single thing. Like everything in life just is not working out. It's just bad, right? You are constantly in this lack mentality, which brings us to the last part of the cycle, which is all of this, your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions actually manifesting into your reality. And that reality is you being stuck in the same situation over and over again, constantly feeling poor and small, okay? And this is a very common situation that I see amongst people that I speak to, or even just from hearing a lot of stories through podcasts or books. I mean, come on, let's be honest. You are probably in a similar situation. It can be money related, or it can be in relationships where you find yourself constantly attracting the same type of people into your life, or it can be in your career, right? Where you don't see yourself progressing or feeling fulfilled. No matter what situation you're in, the concept remains the same. It all starts from your thoughts and not your current reality. Let me repeat. everything that you see in your reality right now, it is because of the thoughts that you have. And to be specific, it's your subconscious thoughts that are on repeat 24/7, 365. Okay, until you change the way you choose to think and see that situation, nothing will change. You can't be operating from your reality. You have to be operating from your thoughts and change your thoughts first. Because if you don't change your thoughts, your reality is not gonna change. Okay, so I don't want you to look at your reality, or rather your current situation, and be like, oh, I'm stuck here forever, because that's not true. This is where the shift happens. You gotta start understanding that when you shift your thoughts, when you start to change your perspective and be like, okay, I got this, I know my reality can be different. This is where change really happens, okay? So this is where learning how to reframe your thoughts by replacing your old limiting ones with, I am not my thoughts. This is a mantra that I want you to always remember. You are not your thoughts, okay? This can actually help you to shift your reality and get the ball rolling. Now, I want you to take on this concept and actively put this mantra to practice, okay? Repeat it every single day, or whenever you find yourself being stuck in a constant loop of negativity. Learn to break any negative cycle, be it a thought pattern or emotions or just any situation that you feel like you're stuck in. Break the pattern with this mantra. I am not my thoughts. Every single day when you wake up, when you find yourself constantly stuck in this negativity or just having the same thought over and over again, I want you to actively and consciously, remember about self-awareness, think about this. I am not my thoughts. I am not my thoughts. Constantly remind yourself that you are not your thoughts. Whatever that you're thinking, whatever that you're feeling can be replaced, okay? Replace your current negative thoughts with a new one. Find a new empowering one, or even a neutral thought that can help you to focus on, because remember, you are what you say you are, and whatever you focus on grows. These two are part of the 12 laws of universe, okay? Let me know if you guys want me to do an episode on it, because comment 12 laws on, whether on like my IG stories or whether just anywhere in this video, so that I know. So this might be tough at first to swallow, and I know it may sound delusional, but like I always say, I'd rather be delusional if that means I get to live the best life that I can live and live that life that I'm meant to live, okay? Because it is made possible for me in this lifetime. I'd rather do that than trying to be realistic. And by the way, I hate this word, because back to the concept of your reality is not your future. Again, listen to episode 10 if you don't know what I'm talking about. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is that you have to choose to believe in your desires and vision even before it becomes a reality. You may feel that your desires may not come with evidence, and when that happens, I want you to know that the evidence is you seeing that it is made possible for others, and so it is made possible for you. Whatever that is possible, whatever like someone else's have, you can have it too, okay? If someone can bring their manifestations into their reality, so can you. Even if that manifestations may look very different, it is possible, okay? Even if like whatever that you see might be different, even the desires can be different, just know that it is made possible as long as you desire it, okay? Because trust me, whatever that you're going through right now, someone went through it too. Same for whatever that you desire. Someone made that into their reality. Someone desired it in the first place, right? You're not the only one. What makes it different is the decision of whether you choose to believe it, even if you don't see it yet, okay? The keyword is yet. As long as you believe in yourself wholeheartedly, despite of what your reality is showing you, and keep replacing your negative thoughts with a new and empowering one, you will get there. I promise you, you will get there. You have to, because it is the thoughts that turn into the emotions, that turns into the actions, that manifest into your reality. This cycle that I just mentioned is the reason why you can always have what you desire, as long as you start replacing your negative thoughts with new empowering ones, okay? Remember, whatever that you tell yourself, you can achieve it. Alright, as promised, before I end, I want you to always remember this when you have a limiting thought or a limiting belief or just negative emotions or negative thoughts, okay? You are not your thoughts, and every reality that you're living in right now is because of the thoughts that you have had, and you can always change it. You can always change your reality. You'll always have a choice, because everything that happened in your life is a reflection of the decisions and choices that we make, okay? So if you're not satisfied with your reality, go back to the thoughts that you have. Find out what is your subconscious thoughts or stories that you've been telling yourself or believing in every single day, and these thoughts can be living in your brain ran free for years, and it's time to switch things up. Trust me, when you make that switch of becoming more conscious about what you tell yourself on a day-to-day basis, especially your subconscious thought patterns, figuring out what it looks like, which takes a little bit more effort and awareness at the start, but once this becomes second nature to you, where you're able to catch yourself and you'll see significant change, and I really mean significant change in your behavior and your quality of life. You become so much happier and so much more joyful because you know that everything is like every thought that you have is within your control, and to a certain extent your reality can be controlled by you, right? Trusting that you do your best and leave everything up to the universe. So the faster you learn to believe in yourself fully and grasp this concept of you have control over how you choose to think or see what's possible for you, your reality will shift to match that energy and thought. Okay, I hope you'll start consciously taking note of the thoughts that you have on repeat and replace them with a new thought that can start moving you closer to your desires and eventually change your reality. So let that positive loop begin. Alright, that's all for today's episode. As usual, if you have any burning questions or topics that you want me to cover, please drop me a DM on Instagram at our live seasons or comment on whichever platform that you're listening to so I can get back to you. Alright, I am so excited for what's about to come for us. And yeah, by the time that you watch this, I will be in Penang, so please check out our live seasons Instagram stories to see what's happening. So I'll see you in the next one.